Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The Lord said, "Woe to you who build the memorials of the prophets whom your fathers killed. Consequently, you bear witness and give consent to the deeds of your ancestors, for they killed them, and you do the building." Therefore, the wisdom of God said, "I will send to them prophets and apostles. Some of them they will kill and persecute, in order that this generation might be charged with the blood of all the prophets shed since the foundation of the world, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who died between the altar and the temple building. Yes, I tell you, this generation will be charged with their blood. Woe to you, scholars of the law! You have taken away the key of knowledge. You yourselves did not enter, and you stopped those trying to enter." When Jesus left, the scribes and Pharisees began to act with hostility towards him and to interrogate him about many things, for they were plotting to catch him at something he might say. The Gospel of the Lord.
From the letter of St. Paul, this word righteousness comes up. And I thought it might be a good time to reflect on what righteousness is. And so first we'll start by looking at what is not righteousness, that we think it is. The Pharisees and the scribes were self-righteous. Namely, it's all about me, and it's all about my pride, that I understand things more than you do, and I'm always correct. And I'm going to be having a propensity to being judgmental because I want everything my way. That's what we would call self-righteousness. Notice that self, it kind of sounds like a selfish thing, all right? However, true righteousness is a gift from God in humility. God giving us the gift to be able to be humble enough to know that we're not better than him and that he does have all the answers. And that's how we live in righteousness. Faith and righteousness is the striving to follow God and his commandments and say yes to his way, not necessarily my way. Righteousness is being grateful to God's love and mercy that he pours out upon us. And righteousness requires, on our part, however, acts of love, which God showed to us on the cross. He became the righteous one who let everything go for the sake of his Father and to bring us back into the fold of his dear children. Acts of love and sacrifice in gratitude for the fact that we are children of God who loves us and he has a destiny for us. That destiny is the way to heaven, where he awaits to bring us into his glory. And this is something we pine for more than anything else. And if you can't imagine that right now, on your deathbed, I'm sure you'll think about it. It's important for us then to see righteousness as part of what we live in our Catholic life. We go to Mass. It's the most important thing for us. We go to Mass, especially on Sundays and holy days, and we should do everything we can to clean our internal house to be prepared for Eucharist. And that house cleaning can come with a confession, the sacrament of reconciliation, a recognition that sin may be part of me that must be expunged. How do I do that? I ask for God's mercy. I go to confession and I pray. That builds the righteousness in me, relying on God's mercy, not mine, and not any decisions of mine that seem to be merciful. It's the decisions that God makes merciful that I follow. Prayer daily to honor a friendship with Jesus Christ, to communicate with him, to talk with him. Not too long ago, I met somebody who was very, very serious about his conversations with Jesus. One of the things he did was he would go to Dunkin' Donuts and he would buy 2 cups of coffee and 2 donuts. One of the coffees and one of the donuts was on the other side of the table, and he would sit and drink his coffee and have his donut and have a conversation with Jesus, who he saw in his imagination Jesus sitting next to him. We have breakfast together, Father, me and Jesus. You might think that's a little bit insane. I would say it's holy, and it's someone having a miraculous vision of God entering their lives. Praying daily to honor our friendship with Christ and to forgive as Jesus forgave. Remember, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Isn't that interesting, even for us? That line is so fantastic. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. In other words, God has an understanding that we're ignorant, and he gives us a lot of breaks for that because he loves us. Forgive, and Jesus will forgive us. And so we strive to be righteousness by reflecting Jesus in our life. As St. Paul would say in the letter to the Galatians, it's no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me, and his righteousness should be a blazing fire in our hearts to make the world a better place by walking, talking, and being with Jesus.
Regina Celi, let